really want to play, you're not going to risk it getting banned out in the second round, but instead they are going to go with Lyra. And Lyra's been like that third or fourth priority captain when we see Grace banned, or if they decide not to go with an Arden.
Yeah, it's always really important to pick up a healer here. We have Grace off the board. Lyra's being picked up. Those Imperial Sigils and the Burst Heal, it has been nerfed in previous patches with that Burst Heal, but she still has a lot of sustain, and sustain is the name of the game here on the Halcyon Fold. Black Feather taken off the board, one of those flexible lane or junglers. You know, he can go the CP route or the weapon power route. And, you know, we have Ringo off the board now as well, and that's banned by Tribe. Ringo has been really, really prominent in the meta here on VIS Pro this season, and he's either been 100% picked or banned. So he's been a very big part of VIS Pro so far.
Almost. There was an entire series where he was neither picked nor banned, although I would consider that an outlier. And VIS Syndicate are going to pick, I would say, maybe one of the next best laners available. Vox is in a pretty good spot. We've seen Vox builds go multiple ways. He still could be built as that crit damage hero, Sean, but we've also seen him build with that cooldown reduction, weapon power build that we see so often on the Ringo. So really kind of excited to see how the Vox play comes in here. Syndicate has been playing really well. And again, this laner here on Kongsta, Edwin, and Girls on Boys, this roster has been very dominant. But Tribe, wow. A Baron pick here on 2.11. Might be the first.
You know, Baron is actually in solo queue. He's one of the pretty prominent, the top 4 laners right now, according to Excoundrel. And he could go, you know, usually you see him going weapon power. It does increase his range when you put full points into his ultimate, his ion cannon. And he could do a lot of area impact splash damage as well. Samuel picked up over here, looking to be probably on Zelciar, and that's going to be a lot of AoE damage coming out of this composition here, Dragonborn.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so with the burst damage coming out of not only, you know, there's going to be a lot of backline damage, a lot of kiting siege potential here from Tribe, and the Churnwalker can potentially frontline a lot of the damage. You know, he can be very, very tanky once he gets mid to late game, get some of those items on him. Once he gets Crucible, he gets some perhaps a metal jacket on him too. And he could just absorb a lot of damage and confer a lot of damage too once he gets a lot of chains hooked in there too. So it's a really back heavy composition here with the kiting potential and a squishy backline too at it. But once they get past the Churnwalker, they're able to block out those trespasses and torments that he has. We could see we could actually see a lot of damage coming out from VIS Syndicate.
Yeah, go with the aggressive jungle comp here. This is obviously an attempt to be very bursty in the early game with that Aftershock composition. And this is something I love to see this come out. We've seen it a couple times where the Crystal jungler will be that Aftershock build. That's just, again, early upfront damage. But Samuel's really good level 2. If they let Tribe win the early game, that will put the Fortress so far behind that buying an Aftershock will be a little too late.
Yeah, I do kind of like what I see on VIS Syndicate as well, though. Even though you mentioned that about the Aftershock, it's still a lot of dive potential, really dive-heavy potential from this composition. And we have, on the opposite side, Tribe has got a kiting composition. It's pretty much protect the carries from with this Churnwalker over there. So if we see Sonic Zooms come out, the Arcane Passage will allow VIS Syndicate to get on the backline. If they're able to do that effectively and focus down the Baron, then it could be a very good strategy for VIS Syndicate to hold up to.
No, absolutely. We've seen basically the top pick heroes in the meta right now banned out, so that opens up the game a lot, and I love what Tribe has done here. Massive AoE, so this is all going to be about landing your skill shots. The Samuel the jungle, this is something we've not necessarily seen Excelsior play a ton of, because he's normally not in that substituting role, but he is in here tonight, so I'm really excited to see how they play meshed up with this composition. The Churnwalker, Max Greed, I mean, that's a combination you always love to see, Sean.
Yeah, agreed, especially when you have AoE damage with other heroes like we do here with this Baron, with this Samuel. Zelsier and Dienzio are going to have a field day with Max Green here, and we're off to the fold here. Game 1 tonight on VIS Pro. Tribe versus Rare Syndicate. It's gonna be a good one out here.
Oh, absolutely. As we start off here early, a little bit of blowing kisses in the middle of the jungle. This is something, you know, they could trade damage. I think they know that trading damage is kind of fruitless. Neither of their carries are going to be at this point at the mid camp, but that could change pretty soon.
It could change very soon. It looks like we did see was what we typically see here, the two carries rotating through the jungle together, getting that experience up so that they can get level 2 and get their abilities online very, very quickly. And a lot of poke coming out from Zelsiar, throwing out those Malice and Verdicts, and it looks like we have Tribe here focusing down this tree, and they are taking that extra experience and gold onto Zelsiar. Really well done for them. And we see Dienzio going up into the lane. Damage traded upon Edwin, but he's just going to be healed up by that Imperial Sigil. Kongsta taking a bit of chunk damage from Max Green. Max Green's got his own damage in return. But looks like the teams are just going to be farming up here. So when do we expect this composition from Tribe to be coming online, Dragon?
Well, they kind of did a good job playing into it already. The 2 crystal bits on Excelsior made sure he had a strong level 2 Drifting Darkness with those Malice and Verdicts. And plus you've got a little bit of poke with the Baron as well as with the Churnwalker. So you saw that it really Rare couldn't contest that Elder Treant because of how much damage is coming out early from Tribe. So already they are putting a lot of damage on the board.
Yeah, Kongster was going really low. He had to back a little bit, pop his healing flask, rather. And Edwin's pretty low himself, but the Imperial Sigil didn't do that much, actually. Kongster's going so low, and he's taken out. Girls on boys next on the menu. Is he going to be able to get away? Yes, he does. And Edwin, dangerously low himself. He is just going to have to back off. Oh, but he's getting hit down by that AoE damage. Empowered Malice and Verdicts dropping down all around him. He's going to have to port back to base. And Girls on Boys isn't done yet, taking Max Green pretty low there, but Girls on Boys is in trouble himself. Imperial Sigil gives him a little bit of extra health to sustain, and it looks like the two teams are just going to go their separate ways, but Zelsiar taking it to the jungle, trying to steal away some of those back camps, and he steals the backs for himself, and it looks like he took that Treant away, but he is in trouble. 3 members of Rare Syndicate are onto him, being slowed up by that Principal Arcanum. He is getting away, and Girls on Boys and Edwin dangerously low right now, but there's still the aggression there, and the back and forth traded one out. Zelsiar gets himself killed and takes Girls on Boys as well, and we're at 2-1 here, and we're still not done. Max Green is walking his dog Kongsta around to the back, and it looks like the teams are finally going to go their separate ways, but 2-1 up here for Tribe, and about a 1,500 gold lead for them 3 minutes in.
Yeah, that could have even been worse. You saw how much damage Samuel was doing, and then the sustain. 3 members of Rare Syndicate were on top of him, chasing him through the bottom part of their own jungle, and they couldn't bring him down fast enough. He would pull backwards, then a Drifting Darkness would come up, and they would run away. They were too low of health, they didn't want to go down, and of course, right behind the jungle, coming up from the bottom, was Max Green there at any moment. So really, Rare Syndicate being very careful early on and respecting the damage that's going to come out of Excelsior Samuel.
Yeah, you put it really right there, Dragonborn. Zelsiar, he's just doing a lot of work, and he's able to trade so well. We know that Samuel can get really strong early game. Once he hits his level 2 power spike, he stays pretty strong for quite a while, but he's still very, very squishy. And if we see Edwin, Kongsta, and Girls on Boys able to get to the backline, then they could really blow him up. Even though he's got the 2 kills right now, Zelsiar does have the 1 death. So he's got to watch out. Dienzio pretty much untouched up there in the lane, sitting at 50 CS right now. You look across the board at Edwin, actually. He's behind. He's got 20 CS behind to Dienzio. So you can already see that we do have a difference in the amount of gold that's going their way. Sorrowblade has already been picked up by Dienzio, and Edwin has a breaking point, so he really wants to ramp up the damage.
No, absolutely, they do want to get onto their power spike soon. Box takes a little bit of time. Oh, Sean. Looks
that
like
ion cannon just annihilated him, and the slows for days from the porcupine mortars were just craziness. And we have minion candy actually popped here by Tribe, and they're sieging this turret up pretty well, down to about half health, but Girls on Boys still there, trying to contest, gets tormented back, and there's no cigar for him, not able to do that much. Tribe just doing the work here. 5 minutes in, they take out the first turret, and it looks like Rare Syndicate's going in onto Zelstier, trying to blow him up. He's kiting backwards. Empowered Mouse and Verdict's raining down upon Girls and Boys, but the Wolves have been popped. They're going after. Girls on Boys isn't giving up. He's being tormented back and forth. Edwin's there as well, and oh my goodness, the Churnwalker taking out Edwin. Max Green making the plays, and Kongsta taken down as well. Double kill going on to Zelsier there, and an early ace 6 minutes in. This is insanity, Dragonborn. 7-1 right now.
If we had any doubts about Tribe playing from last week's game, those doubts have been completely removed and squashed. I mean, because Tribe right now is playing incredible. Rare Syndicate looked like a great team last week, and they are struggling. Game 1, this is not going their way. Then Tribe are on fire. I guess they kind of cleaned up some of the issues that they had last week. The drafting is a little bit different, and just like that, look at that. Sean, I'm sorry they didn't let you get a chance to just break down those plays, because this is just Tribe on fire right now.
Tribe is a fireball right now, Dragonborn. Look at that. They've already destroyed their second turret, probably within less than 2 minutes of the first one. And they just really can't do anything about it. Another 2 kills were traded out right there. And Zelsiar, is the only one who's taken a death right now on the side of Tribe. So they're doing so well. If you look at Zelsiar there, he's got 37 CS in the jungle. Girls on Boys only has 22. I feel like what I'm seeing here, Dragonborn, is Rare Syndicate has been constantly barraged by all these jungle invades, by this lane pressure. Minion candies have been popped by Tribe, and the lane pressure in the jungle being lost to them results in about a 6,500 gold lead now for Tribe.
Yeah, it's insane. Because if you think about it, this is a late game composition with that Baron. I mean, they're not going to fall off into the late game as they move into like a Vox Fortress. The Lyra is still going to do heal, and the Vox will scale. But man, as we got another fight breaking out, Sean.
Oh man, the Wolves have been popped. Kongsta is going really low. He's tormented back, but he gets killed. Edwin goes down too. The Crystal Sentry, he's not doing that much. He's going to get taken out as well. Girls on Boys kiting backwards, but the Ion Cannon double kill. Oh man, he is unbeatable. Dienzio 5-0 right now. This choke point turret is going down. The crit damage coming out of him, 500 plus damage. Nobody has armor. Finally, a coat of plates picked up by Girls on Boys. Dragonborn, insanity out here on the fold. Tribe is winning it.
Yeah, Tribe. I mean, they've got a lot of damage right here. That's a 2-item Baron at just 8 minutes. So, you know, you've got to respect that. Plus, Excelsior, he built that Dragon's Eye early, and then he picked up a decent amount of crystal damage to bat it up. No, very little defense across anybody, really, other than the supports. But you could see Kongsta choose to go with that Crucible first, had not built out the Fountain just yet. So his team just doesn't have the sustain quite that they need to work through these fights. They need it. There's a lot of bursts coming on right now. When you have those Merciless Pursuits and the Porcupine Mortars coming down on you, you can get blown up very quickly, and without enough defense, you're going to see it continually happening. You do see a nice block on that Trespass there, Sean, but it's not going to really matter, because at this point, it just looks like Dienzio and company, this Tribe roster, they are putting up the numbers.
I'm losing you, Dragonborn. I think I might be having a little bit of a connection issue with my internet. And if you're losing me, please go ahead.
Well, I can hear you just fine. So.
All right. If you can't hear me, let me know in the Discord. But anyway, yeah, it looks like they're going for a gank. Edwin, Ion Cannon, 396 damage. He is backing off, forced to pop that healing flask. And again, we're having Rare Syndicate having to go back to their healing pad. There's just so much pressure coming out from Tribe right now. It's ridiculously insane. Almost a 10,000 gold lead right now. Breaking Point, Tyrant's Monocle picked up by Edwin. And Weapon Infusion 2, finally, we have a Fountain picked up by Kongsta. I don't know if that's going to be enough for them to be able to fight back versus Tribe.
And it's a little worrisome that Edwin has to start buying infusions already. He's only got 2 items, where he's going into a 3-item Baron, and he also only has a tier 1 armor. So he's not necessarily going to have a lot of sustain either. Girls or Boys forced to build that coat of plates, but even Kongsta doesn't have any armor yet. So very, very squishy. If they don't take out the Enzio right away, this could be another fight going in favor of Tribe here, as you see it engage taking place.
Yeah, Edwin's going so low, down 506 damage. Those crits are just insanity. Fountain is popped. D'Enzio is going down to half health, but yet he got finally shut down, actually, by Edwin. Girls on Boys, ridiculously low. Max Green and Zelciar take him out, and we have Zelciar on the hunt, throwing out those empowered Malice and Verdicts. The Drifting Dart hitting Kongsta. He's taken out too. It's an ace. 15-2 right now. 10, almost 11 minutes in, and the Crystal Sentry eliminated.
Oh yeah, Tribe. I mean, that's the first time we've seen D'Enzio go down, and it just goes to show you with just 2 kills how well they've been playing together. They've been going into fights they know they could win, which basically has been since right out the gate. And we talked about, Samuel early on is going to do a lot of pressure, so the Fortress can't get behind. He only gets Aftershock at, around the 10-minute mark. It's super late. He's forced to buy a metal jacket very early on to buy that very high defensive item for a jungler. And so you want the jungler to be tanky, but now he's putting so much in just to live to D'Enzio's auto attacks. He's got to get more damage on soon, and they've got to be able to get some defense on Kongsta and Edwin as well, because they are also being melted. That fight was the first time we saw them take down D'Enzio, but it just, again, was not nearly enough to be able to turn it around.
I feel like those Malice and Verdicts, they're hitting, they're doing good AoE damage, and I feel like they were focusing on Zelciar early game, but they should have been focusing D'Enzio. And here we go, Kongsta getting a little bit of damage, Arcane Passage in, Girls on Boys, taken down pretty low, Kongsta kiting back and forth in the fight. Edwin still alive, but he had to back off. Girls on Boys taken out. Edwin, he's gone as well, but D'Enzio went too low. He was taken out by those turrets, and Kongsta is left alone to defend the base versus Zelciar and Max Green. I don't know what's gonna happen to him. Kongsta is just playing with fire right now. Zelciar throwing out these magician spells, hitting him, taking him down to about a third of his life. But we do see Max Green and Zelciar doing the smart move, and they're backing off.
Well, they're going to have to back off because they couldn't get the minion wave to push in far enough, even though they got to reduce the barriers on those 2 turrets. Didn't push in enough for them to be able to actually start doing damage to take one of them out. Good job by Kongsta. He positioned himself far enough away and in the middle to keep that minion wave pushed a little bit farther back. That just meant that Excelsior and Max Green trying to get in there, the Drifting Darkness. I mean, Samuel is going to, by nature, do a little bit of AoE damage, which means he's going to draw those attention of the turret. So, a little difficult. Good job by Rare Syndicate to keep their game alive, as it's really been all Tribe, and it's going to take a pretty spectacular fight here, a comeback fight, for Rare Syndicate to get back into this game.
Yeah, it's going to be a really difficult thing. They've only got their 2 crystal turrets remaining. The gold miner is being focused down now by the rest of Tribe, and they're just taking this gold over and over again. It's so difficult for Rare Syndicate to do anything about it. Did I just see that right? Now -1 gold each. Edwin's going so low. 536 damage upon him by D'Enzio. He's backing off, forced to go back, can't even get into the Imperial Citadel, and he is taken out. It looks like Tribe is doing their last final push here. 641 crit damage onto these turrets. They don't even need no minions. Max Green doing what he can. Stuns up with the Trespass. And Kongsta's taken out. Girls on Boys soon to follow. Double kill. And this is a clean game. Easily closed out by Tribe. Sub 15 minutes. 20-3 right now. Woohoo!
Yeah, huge amount of damage coming out of the Baron. Just unbelievable. You can't really contest it. And if you don't take him out quickly, you go down. You saw a couple fights there. They tried to focus on Excelsior. But again, once he backs up, he has that Eve of Harvest. He heals right back up. Doesn't even need a fountain to get the job done. So Tribe, they get an easy, I'd say relatively easy win here against Rare, who otherwise had looked really strong going into from last week.
I wholeheartedly agree with you, Dragonborn. Look at this, the build. Oh my goodness, the build on Baron. He's got a 4-item build there. All crit minus the Sora Blade that he had to start off with. But D'Enzio went 11-2, and he was just so confident, jumping in and out with those jump jets, easily getting off his double attacks. And it was just a slaughter if you really come to think about it. And Zelciar getting himself 12 assists, and not to mention 7 kills as well. Really well done by him and Tribe. And the facilitation from Max Green, 15 assists and 0 deaths. That's saying something for the guy.
Yeah, I mean, this all came down to the way they picked and countered their opposing player in the lane or in the jungle. Just look at the lane. You have a Baron going into the Vox. Baron's going to bully the Vox. If you're a very skilled Baron, if you're landing your Porcupine Mortars, you're going to constantly force the Vox into awkward positions in the lane. You're going to potentially out-farm him. In the jungle, Samuel, early on, level 2, he's going to do more damage, he's going to have more sustain than the Fortress. So even though you've got a Lyra, you're just outputting more damage right out the gate. And you know what Tribe did here that was fantastic, Sean, is they took advantage of that. Like, they didn't sit back, they didn't wait, they didn't let this farming game take place.